The 54th annual gathering of the World Economic Forum has kicked off today in Davos, which is a plush Swiss ski resort in Europe. As to be expected, there are hundreds of business leaders and politicians here, really to discuss the big issue of the day or of the year. And according to the WEF President Borja Brenda, the big issue of this time is about rebuilding trust and how governments are going to be able to navigate around artificially led disinformation, misinformation that could do some really crucial damage to the polls this year. We know that this year is a record year for elections, affecting 60% of the global economy. The UK Prime Minister, of course, is expected to lose his position when Brits go to the polls later this year. But how is artificial intelligence going to impact that? That is a topic that they are going to discuss. Of course, they cannot do that without looking at the geopolitical backdrop. There are Western-led strikes in Yemen because of the swathe of attacks that have been witnessed along the Red Sea. Of course, there is still that ongoing battle in the Ukraine. I do believe President Volodymyr Zelensky will be here again to speak with delegates and I presume plead for more arms and for more aid. And then, of course, there is the massive headache of the war between Israel and Hamas. And those are geopolitical issues. Of course, this does affect the world economy, but there are economic issues that need to be discussed, like high interest rates, record high inflation that does appear to be going down, but global growth is crawling. It's not going as fast as it should be. So those are the important issues of the day that are going to be discussed. But of course, WEF does have some negative connotations. I think you only need to go on social media platforms such as X, formerly known as Twitter, to have a look at some of the conspiracy theorists people are writing about the global elites who they believe use WEF and the setting specifically here in Davos to network, to schmooze, to have champagne and canapes and not really tackle those domestic issues. So that is something that delegates will need to think about. In fact, I was speaking to the Honourable Minister of Finance, Mr. Wale Edun, earlier today, and I spoke to him about the theme rebuilding trust and how this impacts people in Nigeria. And he spoke about domestic revenue mobilization. He spoke about the presidential directives, of course, which means that delegates that are traveling with the president has been cut in half by 60%. So I think everybody who's here is aware of the fact that domestically, public appetite for business leaders and for politicians is low, but certainly they are in charge. And to tackle some of those pressing issues, they've got to gather and they've got to make sure that they're able to provide the certainty and the reassurance for individuals that they so desperately need, particularly as the entire world is going through an acute cost of living crisis. Monday today has been pretty light, actually, although I expected it's going to get much busier later in the week. We know, of course, the Nigeria delegation is being led by His Excellency, the Vice President, Kashim Shettima. Again, he is with a pretty small team, but they do have a robust engagement. And I do believe there is going to be a specific Nigeria night where they are able to tackle some of those domestic issues. But it is absolutely freezing. The altitude is high, but Channels TV, of course, are on the ground, and we will be bringing you all of the latest coverage from Davos as and when we have it. Juliana Olayinka reporting for Channels Television News in Davos.